I mean, the best advice I can give to dentists, because like you said, Chris, both of us are business owners, right? We all have employees. And one lesson that I had to learn the hard way is when you're starting out, and maybe you just have a receptionist, an assistant, and whatever. Often I talk to dentists and I say, you got to put these things in place. You have to start, like, there has to be systems of accountability. You have to document things. And their response, especially among the younger crowd, is, yeah, but we're only like 2, 3 people. Like, this is never going to, like, I don't need to worry about how this person's answering calls or what, it's a small business. And what they don't understand, and I didn't understand when I was starting a business, is the systems that you put in place that got you to where you are not going to be what it will get you to the next point. And often a lot of progress and growth stops because there's internal drama that stirs from not having clear communication about anything, the rules, expectations, agreements, anything like that. So now these days, like, if I could go back in time and kind of like, set myself straight, I would have been documenting everything. I mean, to date, like, the degree that we document things is, almost insane. Like, every call we have with a client, we write notes about exactly what happened and what we agreed to do and what they agreed to do. And anything we talk about with employees, there's meetings that are documented. And what we found is, actually everyone likes it. The clients love it because they know that if I ask for this, it will definitely not slip through the cracks. The employees love it because they know if I said this, I will hold myself accountable to what I've promised you. But in the past, I mean, we spent so much time going around in circles because, just like with that project manager example, 6 months went by and for what she remembered and what I remember were completely different. And this spawns so many issues. So I think that younger business owners, myself included, felt that if you start being too meticulous, it's going to make it very bureaucratic. It's going to become, like, very corporate. It's going to lose that culture. And I can tell you from experience, the opposite happens. That having lack of good systems and processes and documentation is what will lead to a lot of drama and bureaucracy and BS that happens. Having those systems in place, like you said, creates that confidence because people don't challenge it. They're going to think this business owner knows what they're doing. Like, they're researching and they're very methodical. I'm not going to mess with that, right? So you open up the door to these problems when you are not that organized, disciplined, determined person where, no, we're going to do things by the book. We're going to do things right to protect myself, but also to protect you, because I want to make sure if I promise you this, I will follow through, right? And it creates a strong sense of trust in that leader. And I think a lot of offices sort of miss that. So yeah, I guess the moral of the story here is document everything, like, religiously.
Nick,
Don't just download a contract off the internet. It's not that simple. I did that, and I can tell you it didn't work well for us.
Yeah, Nick, it doesn't matter that an employer is large or small. For both of our fields, for yours, if 1 or 2 of the receptionists who only do actually answer calls in a practice that is in fact only 3 or 4 people, well, that's a big percentage. If it only takes one of the people answering the phones to not do a professional job to be answering 90% of the calls or 100% of the calls, then guess what? Everyone's going to experience the same thing. From our perspective, it only needs, the law doesn't separate between a mom and pop shop and big telecom companies or big banks. An employer is an employer. So it unfortunately only takes one bad employee out of even 2 or even 1 to trigger some things that can really snowball out of control fairly quickly. So what got you here is something, as you said, and with the entrepreneurial spirit that you said it with, what got you here sure will not get you there, but what got you here is because of some things that happened. And to get there, you need to make sure that what is here is actually standing on proper foundations, or else you're not going to even get it. So if you have the wrong person from the get-go, you already have the wrong person. You need to know that in advance before you could even get to that stage.
There's this weird
That's
perception of, like we're going to keep slowly growing, but I think people don't realize the growth doesn't happen in this sort of smooth line where you just kind of keep improving things. Sometimes it happens in gigantic spurts. And
yeah,
something I think I read from a book where something I always stuck with me was years ago, there was an interview with, I think, one of the founders of IBM. Now he's long past. IBM's been around for a long time. They were building clocks, right? And somebody even at this time when he was doing the speech, I think to like one of the Ivy League schools, somebody asked him, like, what is it that made IBM such a great company? And he said, well, it wasn't random. Like we didn't just arrive here. It was planned
yeah,
from the beginning. And his message was, if you want to be like a large successful business, you have to start acting like one before you become one. Okay. And, this obviously, it sounds pretty simple in practice, but you see a lot of small businesses, they don't take this mindset. If you look at a company like Apple, they didn't start off by building, a half-ass product. And then when they made a lot of money, then they started to do a good job. Like that doesn't make any sense. You have to run your business as a 15-person organization or 20-person organization, whatever you aspire to be, when you're only two people, or else you'll never get there, right? Because you can't switch halfway. It's like trying to fix your car or upgrade your engine while you're in the middle of a race. It's not going to work, right? It's pretty silly.